Hey, it's Alan with Impressive Inspections here, and I want to talk about being an impressive home buyer and what that means. So, buying a house can be one of the best ideas and best investments of your life, but it also could be the American nightmare. It could be the American dream or American nightmare. And I want to give you a few tips today to go over what to expect when buying a house. What do you need to qualify to even get a house? What do you need to do? Who do you need to talk to? And basically, in about 15-20 minutes here, go over what it takes to go from renting to buying a house in the next 90 days or less. So here we go. The first thing, are you ready? You need to be qualified to actually buy a house. And is it the right time for your situation? So are you brand new in your job? Are you, do you even have a job? Do you have an infant on the way? You know, your wife is pregnant, you're pregnant. What is your current life situation? Is it smart to buy a house right now? Are you strapped with thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt from a student loan? Are you debt-free? Where are you? What are you doing? Do you have a job that's going to make you move to another state or another city? So those are the things that we want to talk about here. If you own a business, do you have 2 years worth of income to show for your business? That could be a sticky point. What kind of income do you have will determine how much house you can afford. Some of the popular gurus out there state that you should only have a house payment of 25% of your monthly income. So that could give you some idea of how much house you should be affording or could afford. How long do you plan to live in the home? Is this a 5-year investment? Is this a lifetime investment? That would give you an idea. If you're only planning to live in a community for 2 years, you may not be a good candidate to buy a house at this point in time. How's your credit score? Have you filed bankruptcy before? Are you new to credit and you're just, growing that credit? Are you an old pro where, you have an 800 credit score? That's something to think about before you even talk to a lender. And how much house can you comfortably afford? That's something that, we just went over a little bit. One of the big financial gurus out there, Dave Ramsey, he says 25% of your income should only go to your mortgage payment, insurance, basically your household needs. So if you make the average amount of money here in Bloomington Normal, which is about that's the median, $63,000, the amount that you can afford is right around $1,000 payment. So that's something to consider when you're out house shopping. So who do you have on your real estate success team? Who should you talk to make your transaction as easy as possible? So what you want to do, so your success team includes a lender, a real estate agent, a home inspection team, an appraiser, which you get through your lender. You don't really interact with the appraiser a whole lot. An insurance agent to make sure you protect your investment, and an attorney. So an attorney is great for when you have legal questions. You just signed a big legal document for probably the most amount of money that you're ever going to spend in your lifetime. And it might be a good idea to get an attorney to help you understand the contract and the ins and outs of what you're doing. Now, everybody involved in the transaction will have a little bit of knowledge in all of the areas of the transaction, but the attorney is the one that can turn that legal information on that contract into words that you may understand. If you're not an attorney and you don't deal with legal contract stuff, then I would recommend considering getting an attorney, so that way they can explain everything in full detail. Your lender, they're going to qualify you for a mortgage loan. So if you're not paying cash, then you're going to need a lender. And the lender is going to look at, is conventional financing the best for you? Is VA financing best for you? Do you even qualify for a VA loan? Is FHA or USDA loan programs the best option for you? So they'll take all of the information that you provide in the qualifying section here and talk about what is best for your particular situation. The real estate agent, they're going to help you find and locate properties in your area. They're going to help you walk through them. Now, with a real estate agent, you want to pick one. Interview a bunch at first if you want to see who you want to work with, but there's a thing called agency, and once an agent shows you a house, there's some sort of mutual understanding that they are responsible. If you end up buying that house, then they are eligible for payment based on that. So if you're out shopping for houses on an open house Sunday, for example, and you go into a house and you're not working with an agent, and you start talking to that agent, and then you call that agent again, during the week to look at another house or the same house a second time, now that's a relationship that's established there. And there's a little bit of a thing called agency that they are entitled to payment if you shopped a house through them. Now, if you developed a relationship with that specific agent and they're not available for whatever reason to look at a house with you the next weekend, and you call the agent on the sign to let you in, they're going to let you in. They're going to show you the house, but you want to write an offer with the agent you met with the weekend before. Well, that agent that you met at open house, not the one you called from the sign, they may not be entitled to a payment on that transaction, to a commission on that transaction, because you called the agent on the sign to look at a house instead of calling the agent that you've already established a relationship with. So just be careful with that. The home inspection team, these guys will take a detailed look at your house to make sure that it's safe, that the materials inside, the mechanicals inside, what the ages are of those items, and find any hidden defects that you might not normally see during a regular home tour. So they're going to crawl in your attic space. They're going to crawl in your crawl space. They're going to be on your roof. They're going to, the best inspectors will use infrared camera technology, gas detectors, for carbon monoxide and for flammable gases. And they will prepare a report for you that is full of photos and show you exactly what is going on with the piece of real estate that you have put an offer in on. The home inspector will then advise you on what recommendations that you should take to fix those things. They'll say, hey, the roof is very old. It has holes in it. You should replace it. Now, depending if there's a roof leak or not will depend on if the seller is able to take care of that issue for you automatically. So there's a repair request time period on your contract, and this is a good time for an attorney to talk to you about it because they know that contract inside and out. Your home inspector will not know that contract inside and out. So he may say, you need a new roof, but the shingles are just old. They're not leaking. They're just old. So you request the sellers to replace the roof because it's old. Well, that is not an item typically under the repair request section that is eligible for repair by the seller unless it is leaking. And then at that point, the leak could be just a simple repair item, or it could get you a new roof. But that's where the attorney comes in to help you navigate those tricky situations. So house hunting, what is important to you in a house? What do you want to see when you're house shopping? This is where you need to sit down and work out a good needs versus wants analysis. So do you need 4 bedrooms because you have, 3 kids? Do you need, 6,000 square feet if you're just a empty nest couple that is moving out into a smaller house? Do you need to be close to work? Do you need to be close to a school? Or are those wants? Like a want would be, I want a lake view. I want an oceanfront view. I want a mountain view. Obviously, those types of views here in Central Illinois will be hard to find, impossible to find, as a matter of fact. But, those are the wants. Okay, I want a 3rd stall garage. Can I get by with 2 stalls? Yeah, I need 2 stalls. We have 2 cars. No big deal. The extra 3rd stall would be great for storage or would be great for this. If it's something that you can live without, do that. Location. That is the big three most important parts of your real estate. You can move a house, but it's very expensive and usually not worth it. Now, do you want an old house versus a new house? Do you want a 1900s, old woodwork, beautiful character, or do you want something new construction? There's benefits and disadvantages to both options. So you got to think about that before you go house hunting. And we talked about wants versus needs. What kind of budget are we working with? That's why we talked about the qualifying section first. Do we qualify for any of the houses that we're needing to buy or wanting to buy? What is your budget? So if that 25% of your household income that Dave Ramsey recommends only is $500, and you want a lakeside view and you want 3-car garage, you may have some trouble finding that for $500 a month. So make sure you know your budget. The next section we talk about is verification. So you found a house. This is the house for you, you think, right? This is your dream house, right? Well, we have an option to go through and talk about what is wrong with the house. We talked briefly about home inspections. They're going to go through and make sure you find all the defects and the things that might cost you money in the future. The appraisal, that's going to come in, and the appraiser is going to come in and verify that the amount that you're paying for the house is, in fact, a fair market value for the property. They're going to take 3 comparable properties that had sold in the last 6 months and make sure that the amount you're paying is going to be worth it. Then you're going to get financing approval. So during the time you're buying a house, here's one pro tip that you need to know. Do not open up more credit. Do not buy a car. Do not change anything of significance on your financial profile. Don't go get a new job. Don't quit your job. All of the things that snapshot in time that you gave the finance company when you were putting in an offer, that should stay as close to being the same as possible, unless you're getting more income, unless you're getting more savings, things like that. But the financing approval time is when the loan company says, you know what, we've done our due diligence. You look like a good person that is going to pay their mortgage and all of that. So repair opportunities. Your home inspection team, they're going to go in and make sure the radon levels are low. And if they're high, here's an opportunity for a repair. They're going to make sure that there's no leaks in the plumbing system. And if there are, there's an opportunity for repair. They're going to find that your furnace is from 1973. Well, is that a repair opportunity? Maybe. You got to talk to your attorney about that. That might be more of a maintenance issue. So that is something that is good to know as a home buyer, that yes, you will need to replace that furnace soon, but is it the seller's responsibility? Well, it might be an opportunity for another inspector to look at it, like an HVAC technician, to evaluate that unit to make sure that it's safe and it's not pumping out carbon monoxide, that it's not having a heat exchanger that's cracked. So that is where the repair opportunity is, to make sure and verify that this house is right for you. The next thing is insurance approval. Your insurance agent wants to make sure that they will cover the house. They're going to have somebody come out and take a look at it and make sure that, yes, this is something that we are able to insure. For older style properties that may have knob and tube wiring, that might be a hang up for your insurance carrier. Older roofs have been known to cause some hang ups with insurance providers. Damage to the property, those types of things where an insurance agent will look at it and say, hey, you know what? We will or we won't approve and cover this property. It doesn't happen often where an insurance carrier says, no, we're not going to insure it. But if it does come up, a quality insurance agent that you know and trust will be nice to guide you through. And you don't want to be looking for a home, an insurance provider, during this process. You want to do that during the qualification process. Take your time, interview some agents if you don't already have one, so that way they can take your whole financial picture and combine it into a good package of insurance products that will best protect you and your financial interests in the future. And any legal concerns. So things that might come up in a legal concerns verification process is clear and marketable title to the property. So I heard a story from some friends of ours that purchased a house, and during this verification process, the title company had found an outstanding lien of $73,000 on the house that they were purchasing. So they're like, what is going on? Why, what do we need to do to make this work? Well, to make it work for the mortgage company, that title has to be clear and marketable. So that $73,000 loan or lien has to be paid, has to be taken care of. Luckily, the sellers had invested in what's called title insurance when they purchased the property 4 years ago. So when they called their title insurance company and said, hey, this thing came up on our title and it's no longer clear. You said that it's a clear title when we purchased the house. What's going on? Well, the title insurance company went ahead and paid the $73,000 and the transaction moved forward. So lots of things to consider during the verification process when you're purchasing a home. Now preparing to move. No, we don't have moving trucks here at Impressive Inspections, but I thought it was a nice white background to put our logo on. So it's really happening. Preparing to move, getting everything boxed up and moved over to your new house. It's an exciting time. The things you need to do to prepare to move, obviously you have to pack all your things and call all your utility companies to start the transfer process. So your electric company, your gas company, your cable, if you're still doing cable, all of those address changes, utilities. Change of address. I spilled the beans too soon. Schedule contractors for any work that you want done prior to moving into the house. So if you wanted to paint, call your painters, get them scheduled, schedule them the day or two after your closing. And if you want new carpet or whatever work you want to make it your own, get those people lined up if you have the funds, or if you're wanting to get those contractors set up. Schedule a moving company. If you're not going to do it yourself, you got to get on the schedule of a moving company. That way you don't want to call them 3 days before closing and say, hey, I need to move all my stuff. You want to get it going during that verification process, several weeks prior to closing. Now, closing. This is where it all comes together. This is the getting the keys part, the most exciting part of the journey. This is where you sign your life away, figuratively speaking. There's a lot of paperwork to sign. You meet with your real estate team around closing time, before closing. You want to meet with them to make sure that everything is good to go. Your loan is approved. Nothing else is coming up as a surprise there. You've already met with your home inspection team. Your sellers have made the repairs, and the day before closing or the day of closing is a great time to do what's called a final walkthrough. And this is to make sure that everything in the house is how you expect it to be at closing. There's no leaks, there's no surprises, and that later that day or the next day, it's going to be yours anyway. So you want to make sure that the sellers have moved all their stuff out. Make sure that everything is in order. You're going to review your closing statement. This is the financial document that outlines where all the money is going to go. The loan company is providing X amount of dollars towards your home purchase. You're coming in with a down payment. The sellers are getting dispersed. All of this information is on a closing statement. You want to review it before closing to make sure that it's what you expect and make sure that you're bringing enough money to closing. Prepare required funds. I had a transaction one time where the buyer, he brought cash to the closing. He brought like $17,000 to the closing in cash, and the closing company refused to take it. He had to go to the bank and get cashier's checks to make sure that the funds were certified. A lot of times your bank can wire money over, or they can give you certified funds, but the lender will, or the title company will not accept cash at closing. So that's a hidden tip there. Final walkthrough, we talked about that. And last but not least, sign the paperwork. This is where an attorney would come and explain any questions you have in layman's terms. If you don't understand all the paperwork that you're signing, he or she will go over the document with you and say, hey, this is common for this mortgage carrier to, ask you to have this document signed, and this is what it means. And get your keys. Get your keys. Go home. Run. It's your house. Make it your own. To make it yours, do some new paint colors, do some floor coverings, do some new finishes, clean the house. I see a lot of houses that, the sellers leave it broom ready, which is great, but it wouldn't be up to, my mom's standards, my wife's standards, my standards. So, clean it, make it nice. Verify address changes, so make sure that all your utilities are on. Make sure that all your mail is going to the new house. Move in, get settled, enjoy your new house. Schedule that housewarming party. Get people over there and say, hey, look at this place. I just bought my new house. Isn't it gorgeous? And of course, live happily ever after, or until you have enough kids to fill up the house, or it's time to move to a retirement home or whatever, but live there happy ever after. And of course, properly maintain your house. Go through and paint the wood trim outside, all that stuff that comes with home ownership. It's your house. Take good care of it. So who wants to be an impressive buyer? If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in Central Illinois, I want to talk to you. Give us a call, shoot us a text, or go on our website, impressiveinspections.com. Hopefully this was of value to you today, and we can make your home buying experience just a little bit better. We do offer a great home inspection team, and we will look over your house as if it is our own and give you a quality report with hundreds of photos delivered within 24 hours of our inspection time. And if you have any questions along the way, you can give us a call. And you can do your repair amendment within 5 minutes through our report software. So go on our website, impressiveinspections.com, to go ahead and schedule your impressive inspection.